Hello, friends. Welcome to Story Behind Podcast. This is the show for people who love hearing a good story and who believe the world could use more positivity. We're the team behind GodUpdates and GodTube, and we hope these weekly short stories will brighten your day.
The inspiring way country singer Granger Smith is coping after he lost his 3-year-old son. Written by Adam Staten, read by Adam Staten. After Granger Smith lost his son River, picking up the pieces hasn't been easy. However, the way he and his family have leaned on God since the tragedy is truly inspiring. Becoming a parent is one of life's greatest blessings. Children add so much joy and happiness to life. But for a parent, no pain is worse than losing a child. Unfortunately, that's what happened to country singer Granger Smith and his wife Amber. Granger and Amber's 3-year-old son River fell into the family's pool and drowned about 5 years ago. What a devastating loss that would have struck the heart of anyone with immense pain and sorrow. In a clip posted on YouTube, Granger and Amber mention how they are using that experience and hurt into a mission to help others going through a dark valley. Granger recently wrote a book about losing his son and compared life to a river. He mentioned that similar to a river, life takes unexpected twists and turns. But what happens when the river meets a waterfall, he asked. What happens when your happiness goes off a waterfall and you can't control the flow of your river, Granger said. What happens when you can't choose happiness because you literally have no other choice in life? You're at the rock bottom of your river. That's what ended up happening to me in a place of total surrender. The only thing I could do was completely surrender. Granger added that writing a book about his late son and sharing his story, which he hopes will help others struggling and hurting, is a way for him to find healing. Granger also talked about how his faith grew and how he learned to surrender everything to God after River's passing. It was a moment of realizing that there are things in life that you cannot control, Granger said. And if you surrender that, if you can completely surrender that and say, God, take control, you have planned this, you have purposed this, I can't affect this in any way, there is such peace and rest in handing that over. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest on me. 2 Corinthians 12:9.
You're fearfully and wonderfully made. God looks at your heart, not your jean size. Do you know the verses, yet still stress over your body? Oh, I get it. I was raised in church, but I struggled with food, eating disorders, and my body for decades. I'm Heather Creekmore, host of the Compared to You podcast, where we talk about all things body image and comparison from a biblical perspective. We get real about the pressure to focus on appearance in a culture where looks seem to matter most. Whether you're wrestling wrinkles or battling the scale, Compared to Who is the show for you. You'll laugh a little and be encouraged a lot. If you're ready to stop comparing and start living, visit lifeaudio.com to listen and subscribe.
Venture X from Capital One is the travel card for people always asking,
where next?
You earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Teen who raced to help an elderly woman who fell down refused to accept any reward. Written by Adam Staten, read by Adam Staten. A young man who came to the aid and rescue of an elderly woman who fell down and took a tumble in a public park in central Ohio refused to accept any monetary reward for his good deed. Life can and often is painful, both physically and emotionally. Different situations and circumstances can leave their marks in the form of scars or in other, less visible ways. As such, everyone requires a little grace and assistance every now and then. Lending a helping hand could change the course of someone's day, week, or entire outlook on life. Sometimes, help, grace, and kindness can come from an unexpected place. That is what happened to Susan Perry and her elderly mother, Patricia Perry. That unlikely source of assistance? A 14-year-old middle school student. Susan and Patricia, who live in Asheville, Ohio, a town about 30 miles south of Columbus, enjoyed getting out and taking daily walks. Rain or shine, it does not matter. Susan and Patricia try to walk the half a mile or so loop in Asheville Park. However, due to Patricia's advanced age and the fact that she suffered a stroke and has undergone knee replacement surgery in the past, she requires some help walking. One outlet reports that Tricia uses a rollator. However, during one of their walks in mid-August, Patricia took a tumble in the park. We were getting close to, like the baseball bench with a lot of rock. It was not really steady, Susan said. I thought she was going to go to one side of the bench and she wanted to go to the other. This momentary confusion between Susan and her mother resulted in Patricia's rollator being pushed, which sent her to the ground. However, help was already headed to the scene, which came in the form of Daniel Hazard, a 14-year-old middle school student, according to a social media post from Susan. Daniel, who had planned to meet some friends in the park, rushed over to Patricia and gave her and Susan some assistance. The young man literally gave Patricia a helping hand. He helped to pull her up and get her onto the rollator, Susan said. I was going to have him get the car, but he doesn't have his license, and I didn't want him to get into trouble. So he stayed with her, and I ran and got the car. He helped her get in. He was just very kind. To show their appreciation for his unexpected kindness, Susan and Patricia tried to reward him with money. However, Daniel refused to take it. Instead, one outlet reports that Daniel told them he wanted to do something nice. I was glad to help her. I like helping people, especially elderly people, Daniel said. What a wonderful young man with a caring and loving heart who wants to help some of society's most vulnerable members. And be kind to one another, full of pity, having forgiveness for one another, even as God in Christ had forgiveness for you. Ephesians 4:32.
Thank you so much for listening to Story Behind Podcast. We're really glad you joined us for this week's story. To see photos and videos that may have been referenced in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe to our podcast, and please tell a friend about us. We'd also love it if you'd rate us and leave us a review. It really does help more people find us. Story Behind is a Salem Web Network production.
Whether you're into running or running or running or running that's actually mostly walking, running with the Peloton Tread isn't just one thing. From walks and hikes to sprint intervals, we have classes for every level and instructors to support you all the way through. Whatever you're in the mood for, we can get you in the zone. See for yourself with a 30-day home trial. Visit onepeloton.com/home-trial. Terms apply.